Welcome back to one of the longest Rover V8 rebuilds on the YouTubes. There are 3 reasons why this is taking so long. 2 of them are not my fault, and 1 of them definitely was my fault. Reason number 1 why this project has taken so long. My garage wall literally fell down. So I get a call from the neighbour one day. They say to me, "Hey, did you know your back wall's falling down?" I'm like, no, I did not know that. And the reason I didn't know that is because the wall that I have was shrouded in wood by the previous owner of the garage, almost like they knew that the garage might fall down in time. Here you can see the other corner, so that's one corner. There's the other side, that's also got a crack in it, so that whole wall's going to go. It's pushed the front wall out as well. Really just a sick wall. So that is also going to come down. This is heavier than it looks. Okay, so that's the kind of easy, bit tedious bit done. And now I've really got to have a think about what I'm going to do with the fact that I'm right in the middle of sticking this engine back together. I don't really want to have to pull that out of the garage. I've got nowhere for it to go. It's awkward and heavy. I suppose I've got to roll the car out, which should be lighter without said engine. But then I've also got all the gearbox transfer case down here. Again, super heavy, but also probably super allergic to having brick dust all over it. Okay, so day 1, pretty dramatic. I've already taken down absolutely loads of wall. Quite surprised how much progress I made, really. The wall that was back here, as per before, was incredibly thick. You can see how much space it would have taken up. So when they replace it with the concrete blocks, it's going to be much thinner. Has been amazingly wet today, so it's alright because it's the roof's still sound, but it does mean that a load of water's leaking in. Old wall's being fully replaced now with this breeze block. Not as much character, but certainly neater. Reason number 2. This one is the one that is my fault. And I thought it would be really fun to try and make a video where we wash the engine block in a dishwasher. That's basically where we got to. All the stuff was out. I had to get it cleaned and machined, which is what this video is ultimately about, is the cleaning of the block and getting it ready to go back together. And yeah, loads of people talk about getting their engine block cleaned in a dishwasher, which I think loads of people do. Maybe I've missed something somewhere, but that seems to be something that people talk about. So here we go. Fortunately, this dishwasher, despite the fact it looks alright, is actually broken. So I thought, well, I'll try it again. But that one is also broken. So I just don't think this feature is meant to be. So these are going to go back to the scrapyard that I rescued them from. And unless I can find another one, yeah, I'm just going to have to get some elbow grease out and do it that way instead. So the third one I got, I was like, right, I'll get one from Free Cycle, and there was one that was on there for absolute ages. Nobody wanted it because it was really scruffy and knackered, but it was working. So I went and got that, plumbed it in, and I was like, oh, amazing, it is actually working. So I continued on getting the engine block stripped down, get it in the machine, and then what do you know, I just literally couldn't get it to work again. So just a massive amount of time and effort into basically not getting that working. So here we are. Yeah. Don't think there's anything else to be said on the dishwasher story, but it just took me a massive amount of time. I've got nothing to show for it except the footage of me trying to do it. My pressure wash, got myself covered in mud and everything. In fact, I think I've got more mud on me than what I've taken off the engine, but there you go. If we look around here, you can see it's still completely greasy, but you know, ultimately it's not got the clods of dirt up here. Reason number 3 that we're still not in the clear yet is you've got to think. So I've got the garage wall broke down, so I had to push the car out, push back in again, sort of carry on where we left off, which, well, you know, and all the other stuff that goes with it, like cleaning the garage out. Anyway, so fast forward to post not dishwashing the engine block. Then turns out the roof needed retiling. It's like, all the felt underneath had just perished away and water was getting in. I mean, that was on the main house really that was happening, but it was definitely happening in the garage as well. So we're thinking to ourselves, well, we might as well, whilst we're doing the house, do the garage as well. So here we go again. Everything back out of the garage. Car, block, you know, it's like each time these things happen, it's like a proper building site everywhere, and there's just dust and mess and like grime that's been lodged in the rafters for years and years and years. So I had to push it all out again, slowed everything down again, got that done, roof's good, no leaks anymore, pushed the car back in again, but ultimately nothing's progressed, right? We're still exactly in the same place and there's nothing's happened. So in the end, I got fed up with that, and I've took the block to be, I just had it washed in at the machine shop, and they've machined all the bits as well. So ultimately here we are, we're actually ready to start putting this thing back together again. So it has to be said that the machine shop have done an absolutely lovely job on this. If you compare how this was at the beginning of the project, where I literally couldn't even see where some of the nuts and bolts were to undo it, because there was just an inch of mud, literally an inch of mud in the valley here, and all the front, you probably remember, was absolutely just covered in rubbish. Alright, so what they did was to just face each deck, and we've just had it bored out to the next size, because there's just enough wear to warrant that. And they did the camshaft seal as well. It seemed to make sense to get them to do that, because the tools to do that yourself basically kind of cost, you know, what it took for them to do it, and ultimately you just don't want to get that wrong. I didn't have the experience, so it seemed like a good idea. And then they washed it in the ultrasonic cleaner as well, so it's basically really nice and shiny. There's just a few bits to finish off where I hadn't even taken the gaskets off, but really that is ready to go. So the other thing that happened was the heads got a skim as well, and the crank was ground down. I can't remember if it was the big ends or not, but one's 1 thou and one's 2 thou. Just the way it went with the wear and tear by the time they'd actually got a good finish on it. And again, they were cleaned, and it just really looks like new compared to where we started. Well, they also did the valve guides as well. There we go, so they're all been nice and new and replaced. And you can just look at that. It's just, sorry, maybe you've seen it before, but I just can't get over how clean and new that looks. So that is kind of the major components have been cleaned and are ready. Alright, thanks for watching. Next time you join the Land Rover, then we are actually going to be putting the engine back together again. Bottom end rebuild happening first. May or may not already started down here for continuity's sake. But between now and then, I've also got some other fun things, so stay tuned for that.